everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Welcome to Pets Plus Beyond the Pages with myself, Candace Daniolo from Pet Boss Nation. And I have a very special guest with us tonight that we're going to get to in just one moment. I would like to make sure first that you're all with us. So if you're here, please chat in the thread that you're here. Awesome. It looks like we've got Jessica and Karen and Pam, Sarah, lots of people joining us tonight. And I think that's because I think you're loving these Beyond the Pages webinars. I know that I love them. I learned so much when I interview all these guests that have written in the latest magazine or been interviewed in the latest magazine of Pets Plus. And tonight we've got a very special guest. I want to introduce her to you here in 1 second. Let me pull down this little screen. So right now we have a contributor who has been in the pet industry for a very long time. So joining us tonight is Nancy Guinn, who for 11 years has been the owner of Dog Krazy in Virginia. So now she has she has 4 locations with over 28 employees, and she's almost ready to open her 5th location. Isn't that amazing? Her passion for pet nutrition, though, is really so important to her and has been the essence of what Dog Krazy offers. And she recently became a certified pet nutritionist. She did a 500-hour program to become the only pet certified nutritionist in her area. That is really, really cool. And I know you're going to want to dig into that. So Nancy, she's with us. I want to, oh, it says it's still. You know what? Sorry, Nancy. Are we having a problem with I'm not live. Okay. You know, Nancy, I see you in the corner. We are live.
Yeah, it says you're on the air.
Okay, you know what? Actually, now I just found out we are live. It looks like there is a little bit of a delay, but you guys can still hear it. So we're going to just keep plugging along. This is what's awesome about live streaming. All right, so now we've got Nancy Guinn. Hi.
Hey.
Welcome to our webinar. So I want to know if you've always been Dog Krazy.
Yes, I actually had Dog Krazy on my license plate before I opened my stores. I worked in the dental industry for 15 years. And then when I actually went through infertility and I couldn't have a baby, so I got my dream dog, which is a little bulldog. And I had 6 other dogs at home also. So I had a bunch of fosters that I ended up adopting, and then I got my dream dog, which was a bulldog. My boss said she couldn't come to work with me. So I quit my job. And I actually drove downtown. I was in school to be a dog trainer. And the store that had been there for 10 years put up store closing right when I pulled up. And I walked inside and I'm like, you can't close, Kathy. And she said, if you want to have a dog store here, open one. And 3 weeks later, I was in business. So it was that.
So were you just that unhappy in your previous job, or you were just that dog crazy?
I just wanted to be at work with my dog. I was so in love with that dog. Yeah, she was the love of my life.
Oh, that's awesome. And then so tell me more about why you opened Dog Krazy specifically. Like, what was your original vision for that store?
That's okay. So I knew nothing about nutrition. I fed good food at the time. Well, back then I was feeding Candace, so I was feeding a good food for my dogs. But I really didn't know a lot. I didn't know anything about running a business. I didn't know anything about other than what I gave my own dogs. I had actually put couches in my store, and I had a coffee maker where people could come hang out every day. And, you know, we'd sit and talk about our dogs. I opened the store with literally $8,000 that I had in my savings account. And I remember my first day opening, we made $629, and I was so excited. I thought I was going to be rich. And then I was doing like $5,000 a month and barely getting by. But I met my husband, and he's an accountant, thank goodness. And he helped me, you know, learn that part of the business. And 9 years later, he signed on with me, and, you know, that was it. Now we have 4 stores.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that amazing? I think that, you know, you've got a lot of things we can actually dig into there. I mean, I think what's crazy is that the difference between our stories, I mean, we actually are pretty similar. I also opened my first pet store in 2006, just like you. And, but instead I actually got a huge business loan and got, I think, about $190,000 in debt. And because that's what I thought I needed to do to buy all this inventory. And the difference though for you is you're saying you had the $8,000 you had and you figured it out.
I figured it out.
Yeah, you figured it out. And so that's really great. I love that. So if anyone's watching this either tonight or on a replay link later, you can go both routes. And that really, as long as you've got a great plan, that you can kind of see the successes like you've seen here. So, well, and I guess you're married to an accountant, so that does help.
Yeah, he builds our stores and everything. He's pretty amazing. Lucky girl.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Not everybody has a great handyman and a great accountant. So a couple wins there. So from the couches and the coffee to where you are now, is there anything that surprised you along the way?
How big we got. It wasn't quickly, but we had a lot of, like, I almost lost the store the first year because, I didn't have a lot of money to begin with. I met some of the most incredible people that helped me. I had one person that I had met once in my life. I met her at the SPCA. I honestly thought I was going to lose the store because my husband had actually lost his job. And she walked into my store and she handed me a check and she said, "Pay me back when you can." And she's one of my closest friends now. I call her my guardian angel. Just the amount of amazing people I've met through this is the most surprising. They knew my passion for what I do and they supported me so much. To this day, they still do.
So how, that they know your passion, I mean, how have you been able to communicate that? Like, what do you think that it is that you just, when I remember every dog that comes in, I can be driving down the street by one of my stores and I'll call my store and say, Tabby's on her way and she's allergic to peanut butter. Don't forget that. Little things like that. I know everybody's allergies. When one of my customers' dogs passes, like last Friday, one of my favorite dogs passed. I was with her mom. I went with her to where she was being cremated and spent the day with her. So, I mean, I love their dogs too. Yeah. And that
I get emotional when I talk about that.
No, and I don't want to continue to talk about that, but really, for everybody watching, we had a test run set up for you, Nancy, to go through this. And we had it scheduled and you sent a text that said, "I can't do it because I'm on my way with one of my customers to go cremate her pet." And I thought, and then that she is, she doesn't have a significant other that's there, right, for her, and that you value that customer so much and that that customer so well, and that even that customer has that relationship with you, that they're comfortable and want you there in that place and space. And when you said you were going to do that, I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if she has that relationship with lots of people, and if that is this culture that you have obviously created. And it sounds like after getting to know you that is the culture that you create.
Yeah, everybody has that one special dog, and when it's that one special dog, I will be there by your side.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, you've had successes, you've had people that have helped you along the way. I want to definitely still get into the nutrition stuff that we started, in the introduction with you, but I'd really love to find out a little bit more, when you've had those challenges, because it's not easy. It's not easy to go from one store to two stores and then you added two more stores at the same time. I guess let me back up a little bit for everybody. So your very first store you opened in 2006. When did you open the second store?
The second store we opened in 2015. Or no, 2000. I'm about to hit my 2 years. So yeah, 2015.
Okay, 2015.
Yes.
And then
I opened two in the last 6 months.
Year, you opened two more, and now you're looking for a fifth. Yes. So having spent a lot of time with just the one, when you expanded, what was that feeling like?
The second store was really difficult. It's really difficult. I wasn't used to it. So it was having to do double everything, manage double the employees. So the second one was really hard. The third one was actually a piece of cake. The fourth one, a little bit more difficult than the third because it's an hour from us. So it's not right. We can't run there in 5 minutes like my other stores. But it was still easier than the second. So the second is always the hardest, I think. And then going from there, now it's all just, it's easy now.
Yeah. So yeah. So what do you think it is that's making it easier now for those extra locations?
Honestly, I think it's just we have a great set of people that work for us. The people who work for us are amazing, and they're so willing to help. So I think that's a big part of it. But yeah, it's just now I'm on a roll. I know what I need to do. I know what needs to be done. The system that my husband set up for us is amazing. So it like really tracks all of our purchases and what we're doing. So I mean, like before I got on here, I was checking my worst sellers list so I could see what I need to put on sale really quickly. So we just have a really great system that organizes all 4 stores. Yeah, I think what's difficult though is like having to transfer stuff from store to store. That's the most difficult, is figure out what sells where and why it sells here but not there. And that's the hardest part for me, I think.
Yeah. So when you have the one, you're there, you've got a lot more time to focus on, you have a better like pulse, or, you know, a finger on the pulse of what's happening with your inventory and what your customers want. And then as you grow, you can't be everywhere, like you said. And so you need to be able to start to create systems and procedures for your team and also for all that inventory. Look, so maybe Chris, I think he's watching here. Maybe he can type some of those secret systems in the. No, Chris, we won't make you give away all of the trade secrets of Dog Krazy. Don't worry. So on talking about team, you know, you have 28 employees. That is a lot. And so I think in anyone's journey of growing, there's always going to be HR challenges, especially I think, you know, we all start these businesses because we're passionate about pets. And then we grow like you've done and you become like an HR department at one point, right? So, you know, let's talk a little bit more about those employee stories or struggles. Is there any one story or situation that stands out for you?
There are a couple. I have a tendency to get too close to my employees. I treat them like family, and it's really hard for me to break that bond because I really appreciate them and I want them to know how much I appreciate them. Some of them can handle me as a boss and then me as a friend and you know, differentiate the two, but a lot of them can't. So some of them, you know, don't take me seriously when I say, hey, this needs to get done. So I've had to step back from that, and, you know, I'm not doing funny memes to them anymore, you know, via text, and I can't do that kind of stuff anymore. I just have to step back and just, you know, it kills me. I hate it, but it's better for my business that way.
Right. So, you know, that's true. I've had the same situations too. But tell me a little bit more about what it was you were doing that maybe you don't do anymore, like sending the memes and engaging via like funny text. Like, were there other things? Because I know, you know, everyone that's watching there, they have a team and they may not know that it's not necessarily appropriate. I mean, I'll be honest first, even in my situation, you know, I like to have parties. I don't have parties all the time, but let's say it's like a big holiday party. You know, I want to have alcohol and fun drinks and like really celebrate. And sometimes that goes wrong because somebody drinks too much. And in the HR world, they would say that that's not the professional thing to do, is to do that. You know, you almost have to put a drink limit on what you offer. So, I mean, that's my personal experience. What are some of the things that maybe were like your bad boss, like, you know, not bad, but like, you know, the things that you've had to overcome?
I think a lot of, well, I mean, I'll admit this. I have favorites. That are in my stores. And I think that other people saw that I was much closer to them than I was to them. And there was a little bit of, oh, well, you know, she's only being nice to her. She's only doing this because she likes that person better. So I've had to just, you know, if I invite one person, I invite everybody. So, and I tell my managers that too. If you're inviting one person out on the staff, you have to invite the entire team. It cannot just be, you know, one person. You can't show favoritism. So I think that's a big one. But I mean, we've even gone as far as some of our employees have come to my family's house for the holidays, you know, and that ended badly. You know, like one of the people is not with us anymore, and she spent Christmas with us. But, you know, I learned the hard way.
Yeah, and I what's interesting too about, and the reason I want to keep talking about this too is because as a small business, you know, it's easy to you're with them so much and you trust. You have to give so much trust to them because it is your business, it's your baby, and you get along with them. They help you build your businesses. They sometimes know way more about your life and what you're going through than even what you know about them. And then you start to learn about them. And like the lines are so easy to get blurred that it is really important to know what the boundaries are, to create boundaries for yourself and have rules like you just mentioned, like including everybody or not letting, you know, certain situations get out of hand. Because for that reason of having to do the termination, or if they leave, or if they start getting disgruntled, you know, it's much better for us as the employers, right? To have the grounds. So
have a really good attorney. That's the best advice I can give. Have a really good attorney. I have a great one.
Good. So yeah, what have you learned? What have you learned by, you know, working with your attorney?
It's just, we have had disgruntled employees that we've had to let go of. And my last words are always like, when they're ugly and want to be, I'm like, you know what? I'll just have my attorney contact you. It's fine. And it's the best money I've ever spent. We have a killer attorney who just one little letter and that's it. And it's taken care of and don't have to worry anymore. It's just the main amount of stress she's lifted off our shoulders is just ridiculous. She's amazing.
Yeah, it is. You can get caught up in all of that bad energy, and then it distracts your whole day. And I always say, like, I had a HR hijack today, you know, and I didn't get anything else done. And you know, and so it's good to be able to deal with that. And I'm glad you have a process and a system for that. So now, how about working with your husband? You know, we've already talked about Chris a little bit. You had a successful business for the last, you know, I think it was, you had it for 9 years before he joined the family business, or Nancy's business. What was that like?
Okay, we can be together 24/7 and we have our little tiffs, but I still get butterflies when I see him walking towards me. He's, you know what I mean? When I see his name on my caller ID, I get excited still. So it's that type of relationship. I'm madly in love with him, and I hope he would say the same about me. I'm pretty sure we have our names tattooed on each other. But, oh yeah, but awesome. Yeah, he actually got my name right on his arm, and I have his name on my back.
But do you have your pets tattooed on you?
I have his name and his dog's name tattooed on my back in an infinity symbol. He has like my handprint with his dog's paw print in the middle too. Okay. Yeah, but we actually opened the second store so that we could be a little bit away from each other, being in the first store together. That was a big thing. We're like, let's just get a second store so we can be apart if we need to be. And then now we're always at different stores. We're together a lot of the day, but we're at different stores a lot. He has 2 stores and I have 2 stores.
Got it. Okay, so you've separated your responsibilities. What other responsibilities? Like how have you defined the roles of who takes care of what?
He does all of the accounting, all the bills. He does all of that. I do all the ordering, hiring. He does payroll, of course. So I try to manage more of the employee side, unless there's something that's I'm not comfortable doing, then I'll go to him for it. But for the main part, he does all of our bookkeeping and I do all of the products and the employees.
Okay. So is there anything sometimes that you would need to come together on or agree upon? And how do you work through any kind of even disagreement or conflict between the two of you?
I think ordering is the thing that we disagree on a lot, because I tend to spend a little too much and he's an accountant and he puts the smack down on me and he's like, no, you need a budget. I think that's the hardest part, and I don't like being told no. So I'm getting better. I've cut down on our cost a little bit in the past 2 weeks. So yeah, thanks to you. Thanks a lot, Candace.
Yeah, it's funny as we talk about, inventory planning, and because one of the things you were saying is that's helped you, see a better transition of growing your business and these other locations being easier is your inventory planning and the merchandise and having these systems. And that's one of the things that I help pet business owners with. And we've done a little work together, and it's true. Your money, not you, I'm talking about all of us, cash flow is so important in a business. And so if you're putting it all into your inventory instead of having, the right amount that you need, then you don't have the cash flow to do other things in your business, like open up a 6th or 7th or 8th, So oh shoot, anyway, I had a thought and I lost it there. Okay, so I want to get into, this is what it was. So you're talking about products, so you like to do the buying. And that was one of the things that when we've talked before is, I think it was when we were at the Pet Connections Expo and I met you in person for the first time, and you were like, nothing goes in my store that I wouldn't use 100% for my pets. And you were so, as passionate as you are, I feel like, about the pets. We've already heard of why you got into this and your clients and your relationships. You were just as strong and passionate about those products that you carry.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's what actually makes us different is that I won't carry things that I'm not comfortable selling. So every day we get people who want me to carry Blue Buffalo. And I'm sorry, I can't go to sleep at night knowing that I sold you a product that I wouldn't give to my own pets. You know, there have been products that I've dropped and it broke my heart to drop them because they were products that I liked. But for example, when one of them sold out to one of the grocery store brands, you know, I took it out of my store immediately. You know, we had another one where I had an issue with something that happened to my dog with the product, and the way the company handled it was not up to my standards. They literally said, sorry for your bad luck, when my dog had a seizure. And I took over $5,000 worth of product and I said, see you later, returned it to the vendor. You know, I just, if I'm not comfortable knowing that your dog is going to go home and it's going to be something that benefits their health, then I'm not going to sell it in my store. And that's where I differentiate from a lot of people.
Okay. So do you have like a checklist you go through for vendors or like certain criteria that right off the bat you want to look for?
Basically where it's made, where everything is sourced from is a big thing with me. I check recalls. If something's been recalled, I take it out of my store. It depends on the type of recall. If it's something like salmonella from spinach, and that doesn't really bother me. But if it's something that they lied about, you know, one of the ingredients coming from China or, you know, the big one that just happened with one of the canneries, you know, everything from that went out of my store. I do it in a professional way. I don't say anything bad about the product. I just say, this is what happened. I'm sorry to do this, but I can't in good faith sell this to you. And we actually get a lot of positive feedback from it. People love that I love their animal so much that I would rather lose money than sell them something that could, you know, something that I'm not comfortable with. I won't say it won't hurt their dog, but something that I wouldn't feel comfortable giving to my own pets.
Mm-hmm. And how do you find out about these recalls? Is there a resource you go to or a list that you're on?
I just do a lot of research. I mean, I pay attention to all of the different recall websites. And then we actually, like even my employees, they call the different companies and find out if anything has changed on a regular basis. So like with our dog food in our stores, we have the dog food on the shelves and then we have tags up on every one that has things that actually aren't on the bags. Like a lot of them don't list the calcium and phosphorus, and we want to know that for large breed dogs. So ours go a little bit further. We have the carbohydrate count on the actual products also. So people know if it's a higher carb or a lower carb. Because we actually have 2 of our stores next to veterinarians. So we have a lot of dogs that come to us with cancer and kidney disease, liver disease. So we want to make sure we're giving them the right products. So we do a lot of phone calls.
Yeah, so that's really interesting too. That kind of ties back into what we talked about on our last webinar with a handful of the people at the coolest stores. Is that at that point we were talking about how to really differentiate yourself from the competition, but also like, you know, I guess how you're going to compete and what gives you that competitive advantage, right? That's what we talked about last time. And what I'm hearing, even what you just said, is that you take that extra step where your employees are calling the brands you carry, maybe not all of them, but the ones that are probably front and center for all your dog foods and treats and things. You're finding out the details of those products that aren't on the marketing, and you've made signs. Your staff knows about it. I love that. Like I don't think I've ever seen that in a store before. I love that.
When our reps come in, they take pictures and send it to people.
I actually want you to take a picture and share it with us, but we can't in the chat. Put it in our Facebook group. Okay. Put it in the Pet Station Facebook group. I'd love to see pictures of that. So then have you even found with your employees that they are as passionate about this, or do they end up kind of getting their own department in the store that they really love? Like how has your passion translated to your team?
Well, when I hire somebody, that's what I look for. You know, I look for somebody that loves dogs. Like one of the things in our job description is you have to be able to sit on the floor and play with puppies, and you have to not mind getting peed on because it happens every day. You know, anal glands are going to get released on you and you have to enjoy it. It's just going to happen.
Anal glands are going to get released and you have to enjoy it.
Well, we have grooming too. So we help the groomer sometimes. And when you have a stressful dog in there, sometimes they show you how stressful dog.
You're right.
You know, extra shirts in the back.
Yeah, you're fitting a harness and a dog gets spooked by a noise or something, and you know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, listen, that's actually a great segue to talk about the poop pictures. so
it's not as bad as it seems.
No, I know. It's funny when we were coming up with a copy and I was reading your article that you're featured in the latest Pets Plus magazine for November and December. The mention there is that you get a lot of poop pictures, so many poop pictures, and I'm just like thinking, I'm like, okay, how many does she get a day? You know, it's not that bad.
After poop picture. So we get a lot of dogs that come in with IBD and that, you know, just chronic diarrhea. And the pictures I normally get are pictures of firm poop. And it's like, oh my God, I woke up this morning and look how firm it is. And I'm like, yes, it's awesome.
That's true. They come to you when they're desperate, something's wrong, because poop is one of the best indicators to tell pet parents what's going on with their dogs health-wise, right, and how their dog's feeling. And so if it's never firm and then they can't pick it up when they're cleaning, and then they come to independent retailers like you, and they get the solutions and they get a bunch of advice, and then they're so happy. And online stores can't do that for them, and the big box stores aren't going to do that for them. So that's definitely important that small businesses get passionate about it. So, okay, so you get all these poop pictures because you became a certified pet nutritionist. I'd love to, what school is it that you went to?
It's the Academy of Natural Health Sciences. There are different programs you can do. There's actually way more than there was when I signed up. I signed up 5 years ago. And when I signed up, there was one that was really, really expensive that wasn't in my budget. The one I did, I think, was about $3,000, and it was a 500-hour course. And then the ones that I found below that were very, very minimum. They were like 9-10 hours, and I thought that wasn't enough. So I did the one right in the middle. And I did learn a lot. I really did learn a lot. Some stuff, though, I didn't agree on. And that's why it's actually a 2-year program, but it took me 3 years to finish because I refused to back down from what I think is right. They didn't agree with goat's milk was the big thing. And I recommend goat's milk for a lot of different issues. And I refused to take that out of any of my paperwork. So finally I said, here's the information. You can go research it yourself. And if you don't agree with you don't agree with me. I won't get my certification, but I'm not taking it out because it's a great thing. And they finally, I guess they went in and did their research and they passed me. So
that's awesome. A little longer. Yeah, and since we're on the topic with goat's milk, in case there are people watching who don't know the benefits to that, what do you love about goat's milk?
Oh, it's just amazing. When my bulldog she had a heart tumor, and that's how I lost her. If I couldn't get her to eat, goat's milk was one of the things that I actually used for her. It has so many benefits to it. It's basically like I try to tell people, it's like a mother's breast milk. You're just getting so much more nutrients than you would get from anything else. It's just a great thing to add for a probiotic. I mean, there's so many different things with goat's milk. I mean, there's even a product now because what I was doing with my bulldog is I was taking goat's milk and I was adding pumpkin to it to get her to poop a little bit more and sprinkling it with cinnamon. And I made a pumpkin latte, and Digging Your Dog actually released it in a freeze-dried formula. And my dog is actually on the back of that. So if anybody has that in their store, Piglet is actually my baby. That's the love of my life. Yeah.
That's cool. And so I thought was interesting about why, I thought your story about why you went and got certified is really interesting. So share that with us.
Yeah, we had a dog that would come to my store, Obi, and he was allergic to everything. He was a flat-coated retriever, and his mother worked actually at my vet. And we were trying every single protein we could to try to get Obi's skin cleared up. He was itchy constantly. She ran every test that she could at her vet's office. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. And finally we said, let's just do a food elimination trial and just see what it is. And we had him on venison, and venison is what worked. Of course, it was really expensive to feed an 80-pound dog raw venison. So we were hunting down all these hunters and getting, raw venison meat for her. I remember at one point, one of the girls that worked with me actually drove her like 80 miles out of the way to go to somebody's house and clear out their freezer to get all this it's deer meat, excuse me. Yeah, that's the one thing that worked for him. And then when it worked for him, she went back to the vet and said, look, this is what Nancy recommended, and this is what worked. And they're like, well, she sells dog food. We sell dog food. We don't want to cross that. And she said, you really should go to school for it. And that's when I decided to do it. And I was already battling a lot of issues with my bulldog. She had so many different issues because all bulldogs, are allergic to something. And I did the same thing with her, food elimination. And we finally found something that worked for her. So that became my niche. That's what became my passion, was trying to help people figure out what took us so long to figure out with them.
Mm-hmm. Now, so you're saying, is it right that she didn't want to, the veterinarian's office didn't want to refer people to you for the food until you were certified? Is that correct?
Well, yeah, it was, I was just a girl who owned a dog food store, and they sell food too. And they sell food for medical issues. It was actually one of my proudest moments was the vet that I see there is into good food. She is not big on the foods they sell. So she actually does continuing education. So she's a different type of vet. But there's another vet there that was very set in her ways, and this is what she likes, and this is what she's feeding. And about a year ago, a woman walked in my door and she said that this vet sent her to me, that she didn't have a food that was formulated for large breed puppies, and the dog had crystals in her urine, and what would I recommend? And the vet said to me, if you're able to help me with this dog, then I'll start referring people to you. And we got those crystals gone. So she now refers people to me. So that's, I mean, that was a moment in my life.
I really think that's a really big moment actually for everybody to hear that story, because Dr. Becker in Chicago, she does a lot of seminars on this, where it's like, the retailers are the ones who know a lot about these foods and have gone through the education process. And a lot of the veterinarians, they have like one nutrition class in all of their 7 years or however long it takes to become a veterinarian. They're not, as educated on the foods, and they keep recommending all of these bad foods. And the consumer, though, comes to us and asks questions, and then, but we're not veterinarians either. A lot of, obviously we are, but some people haven't gone through as much training as you've gone through. And so I think it can be confusing for the consumer to know, do they listen to their retailer? Do they listen to their vet? And then will they be potentially even sued by the vet or the client because you're telling things like, there's kind of a lot of that. It's like walking on ice a little bit sometimes around some of these conversations. What I really like is that you got certified. It gave the vet an opportunity to feel like they could start to know, like, and trust you, right? That you gave you some expertise. And then I love that scenario where it's like, all right, I've got this one dog. If you can help me with this dog, let's see what happens. And it's that testimony. You had to prove yourself to the vet. And now, since you did that, it's bringing you all kinds of business.
Absolutely.
That's great. And so I really do think that maybe, what was the name of the school again? Just so everyone can.
Academy of Natural Health Sciences.
Academy of Natural Health Sciences. Okay. So if you're interested in getting your certification, check that out, or find some other ones online like she's recommending here. All right. So we have a few questions here. Let me pull it up. Okay, and for everyone watching, if you have questions for Nancy, they can be anything really. It can be business related, about how she's grown her business up to 4 locations, how she manages her team. It could be also about nutrition. She knows so much about nutrition that you can ask those questions, or maybe if you've got something going on with your own dog. But it looks like we've got a couple from Frank and one from Karen. Okay, so let's start with Frank here. So Frank wants to actually go back to how you created that passionate culture at your other locations.
I actually, when I open a new location, I'm there. So I put all when I'm at the store, I will be at that location. It's difficult because I can't be in 4 places at once. But like when we open a new store, I'm one of the people you're going to see first. And okay. What I'll do too is I'll pull somebody who's experienced from one of my other stores and have them working the store too. I never start a new store with new employees. It's always somebody that they'll be familiar with. And the way I schedule employees is I have one employee that's very knowledgeable when it comes to nutrition. And I have one employee that's that fun, get on the floor, roll around with your dog employee. So I have a good balance of exactly what you want in one person. So it's just, that's always how I schedule. My employees will try to swap sometimes, and I'm like, I need a certain type of person to work this shift. Yeah. So that's the easiest way for me is that I found. I just have to make sure that I'm there, or I have those 2 types of people working that shift.
Right. And so then how long do you stay at a new location full time?
It depends. Richmond actually is hard for me because it's an hour from here. So I'm not there as much as I like. I'm trying to be there 2 days a week right now. But the people I hired for that location are phenomenal. I have my assistant manager is a groomer, and my manager used to work at my vet's office actually. And they're both big animal lovers. They're both very knowledgeable. And they're the ones who are there full time. So I know they're doing great. We've had so many great reviews since we've opened that store, and it's only been 2 months.
Mm-hmm. Great. Yeah. And how do you, are there certain things you do to keep them motivated and passionate?
Like I said, we come down there twice a week, and then I call them at least once a day. I try to tell them what a great job they're doing. Anytime they get a 5-star review, I immediately screenshot it and send it to them. Just this morning, I got a text from somebody saying, hey, just want to let you know how amazing your Richmond store was. I just left there, and Catherine was so phenomenal. And I immediately called her and said, hey, I just got this awesome message about you. Just wanted you to know you're doing a great job. We took them out to dinner to say how much we appreciate them. Every time I go down there, I try to bring cupcakes and things like that just to get, a little bit of morale going.
Yeah, that's good. So it's not just like the boss walking in and all like, oh, the boss is here again. She's like, oh, look, I've got cupcakes.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about coming to work late.
I don't do that. That's Chris's job.
There you go. All right, cool. Karen wants to know if your attorney specializes in HR, the one that you have, or if they're just a law.
Yes, yes,
okay.
She is. Yeah, she handles all of that for me.
Great. Yeah, and Karen, yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, Karen, you know, I learned from my own experience recently too that Jackson Hewitt is a national organization, and they do specialize on HR laws and employment laws. They're an employment attorney, and they have really reasonable rates. So check out Jackson Hewitt for that. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, continue. So this Frank wants to know if you have competitions between your different locations.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell me about that.
It's so much fun. Like actually yesterday, my Stafford manager kept having one of the employees call me, and I was like, why doesn't he want to talk to me? And my husband said, because the Richmond store is whipping their butt. So they're the two newest, and the manager that we have in Stafford is very experienced. He's such a great manager. He's fantastic. And then my Richmond store, it's newer people, and I have a new manager there. So I spark competition between them. Definitely. We always see who's doing better in numbers. They check each other. They check each other's sales, and they'll call each other and egg each other on saying, hey, I'm at a 3.0 right now. You're only at a 2.7. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah. So they must feel if they're doing that, they've gotten to know each other outside of work. I'm assuming your company kind of gets together, like you're saying in your meetings. And I think competition is healthy. I'm sure they're fun with it. All right. Yeah. So let's see here. If anyone has any questions, you can type them in. Otherwise, I'm going to just keep asking away here. All right. So, well, let's go back to Susan from earlier here. I found another question. So when we go back to that, you started with only $8,000, and she's like, how? Like, how did that? Like, how long? I know you mentioned you had that customer come to you, but that gave you some money. That
wasn't until a year
later, right? So how did you get there on that?
It was literally day to day. I lived off of credit cards for my personal bills. I didn't pay myself for quite a long time. So I literally lived day to day. What I made paid the bills. I set myself up on budget plans with my electric company and things like that. My landlord was even so great. There was one point where, because the space that I leased was what she had for 10 years. The space next door actually opened up, and it was 1/3 the size. And he actually came to me and said, look, I know you're overwhelmed. Do you want to move next door? So he let me break my lease and move into a smaller building to be able to afford it more. And that right there saved me big time. So, I mean, it was literally, I opened the store. I wish I had a picture I could put up of my first store, because it was like bare. I think there was like $4,000 worth of merchandise. There was no food. I didn't sell food at that time. So it was all gifty stuff and toys. And, I didn't know what a bully stick was when I opened.
Yeah. You got to figure it out. And so that's good. Like it is, you do need to follow a budget, go day to day. And because you were honest, I think, about what was going on with some people, and you weren't hiding necessarily behind that, you found the right people to help you. And that's why your landlord knew that space might be a better fit for you. I
also did a lot of consignment when I first opened. So I had people who made collars. I had people who made coats. I had a bakery that did consignment with me. So basically they gave me the products. I put them on my shelves, and when they sold, I paid them, and I would cut them checks either weekly or monthly, depending on what we had worked out. So that helped a lot too. Now I won't do that anymore. That's too much hassle for me. Yeah.
But that's a smart system in the beginning. Great. Okay. Susan again wants to know, okay, do you have a particular brand or product, not food related, but a particular brand or product that does especially well for you, and why do you think?
I mean, our food is most of our business now. Honestly, I would say bakery cookies. Bakery cookies are a huge seller for us. There's a new company. I'm going to just say her name right now, and I don't take all her sales from me because I need this woman. It's called Signature Bones, and these are the cutest cookies I've ever seen in my life. I just got, I think, $2,000 worth of cookies from her at one of my stores, but we're flying. And they're these cute little miniature bakery cookies. We retail them for $1 a piece. They fly out the door. But we sell, like, with Christmas coming, I'm stocking up, because I think we sold, like, last year, the week before Christmas, we sold like 5,000 cookies total. I mean, that adds up. 5 times 3. It's nice and easy.
I have got to, knowing Susan's business, or Suzanne's business as well, I think that is a really smart move for her to do that and really grow that. And even from my own experience, our bakery case was, enormous. I mean, it was I said at Dogaholics at my store that we had the largest bakery case in all of the Midwest. And well, now it might not have been, but if someone wants to challenge me on it, let's have a bakery case size, like contest, I don't know, or face off. But you're right. Especially with the holidays, but not even holidays, you can like maximize birthdays, Christmas, Halloween's another big one, and Valentine's Day is good. It's almost like any of those holidays that are already naturally candy giving holidays for the human world translate for pet. And then, but you can also, it becomes that little special treat that they come in once a week for. And the margins are awesome in cookies. So invest in that for sure. Okay, let's see. Frank has another question. Let's see. Does each store order their own products from distributors, or do you ship them out of a central location?
I order for every single store, and they go directly to my stores. But that's what we're planning for store 5. We want to have a central location, but we want to have retail attached to it. So we're looking for about 10,000 square feet. So that's why it's taking us a little longer than we'd like.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I know that you have, I'm just looking at a time here. I know that you've got a couple great book resources for us, some business books. So let's dig into, and we do have another question, but let's talk first about this book real quick, and then we can get into some more questions. So what are your favorite business books?
I love marketing books because that's my specialty. Is I like to do as many events as I can and just do special things for our customers. There's 2 books that I actually reread every few months, Guerrilla Marketing and then Retail Truths. Those are the 2 that I've found most helpful. And I like them because like with Retail Truths, they're just small little blurbs. So it's just paragraphs about different things, about your managers, about your staff, about ordering, about customers. And it's easy reads. So I can just, take 5 minutes and just read a couple things or look in there what I need help with at that moment. And it just helps to refresh my memory. And then Guerrilla Marketing, God, I've gotten so many great tips off of there. I'm halfway through that book again.
Yeah. What's one of your favorites?
I think in that one, there was one about instead of doing coupons, doing gift certificates. So we don't do coupons anymore. So what we do is like for one of the rescue groups here, we actually give them $5 gift certificates to our store. And it says on it, you just adopted a dog. Here's a $5 gift certificate. It's free money. They come in, they can just take $5 worth of stuff, or they can spend more. And then 10% of their entire purchase, including 10% of that $5, is going to go to that rescue group that they adopted from. Mm-hmm. So like last month, I think we cut her a check for like $100 and something. I'm not real sure. Chris does that part, but I know we got back like 9 or 10 of them. So and each of those people spent anywhere from $20 to $100. So that's a great thing that we found. Instead of doing what, the common thing, people write coupons and hand them out like that, we're saying just come and get free product, and it's paid off.
Yeah, it seems like it has a higher perceived value when it's a gift certificate instead of a coupon and a discount. Yeah, that's a smart strategy. Okay, we've got a few more questions now. So Whitney would like to know what your favorite tools are that help you manage everything going on between all of your stores. Any favorite apps or programs that you use to communicate with the staff?
We have one central thing that we use. It's called Papers, that we communicate, that we can put notes in, and we have like our schedules in there, time off requests and things like that. But it's really new for us. We've only been doing it for about 90 days. And honestly, we still text a whole lot.
Yeah. So I'd like to make a recommendation for you, Nancy, and then Whitney too, is that there's an app called Slack. I don't know if you've heard of Slack yet. It's SLACK. And that is an awesome app that you can create usernames for all of your team members, and you can have separate conversations and whole conversations, and you can update the status of things. It's used a lot in a lot of different businesses, but also like I know like dog walking companies use it so that dog walkers can all know what's going on with a specific dog, and doggy daycares, and I think it would be great in a multiple store location environment too. And then another one that I still use to this day, I found years ago, is Trello. It's Trello, and it's free. They do have a business version, but Trello allows you to create lists and lists and boards and tasks, and it's almost like you using like Post-it notes to organize information. But then you can go dig into into each Post-it note and add pictures and checklists and systems. It's great. And then again, you give usernames and passwords to all your team. You can tag them in comments just like you can on Facebook, and it shows up in like a chat thread. So it's great. Both of those, I think, are good resources for you guys. All right. Karen wants to know, at what point did you decide it was time for a second location?
When my husband came on. Yeah, honestly, I'll tell you what happened exactly. We had talked about it and I wasn't ready for it. We had an employee that I absolutely adore, and she was working for us on the sales floor. She was a groomer originally, and then came to work for us on the sales floor. And then she came to us one night. We had a staff meeting, and she said, "Look, I think I'm going to need to leave. I have to start grooming again." She said, "There's not space for me to groom in the first store, and in our store that we had then." And her partner were splitting up. And I looked at on the way home, I looked at my husband, I said, "We need a second store. We can't lose her." I was like, "We need to open a store and she can groom there. Let's just do it. We've been talking about it. Let's do it." And actually after we opened, she ended up leaving us. But she came back about 3 months ago. So, and I'm, so happy to have her back. She's one of those ones that, was like family to us. So it was actually an employee that made me open the second store.
There you go. Well, and speaking of family, I have to give your mom a shout out because she's chatting in the chat thread. Your mom, she's saying that multiple times, actually, she has said how proud she is of you. I
can't see the messages, so I have no idea what's being said.
Yeah. So yeah, she's wanting to make sure that, I think that I communicate that to you. So she is very proud, and that, that's important, when you've got that kind of support, whether it's from family members or your partner or employees or friends, because when you're an entrepreneur, it's when you have your own business, not many people make this jump. Not many people are willing to leave health insurance and 401ks and the security that they think they're going to, they get from a corporate environment. And so it can be a lonely place sometimes, right?
My mom's amazing. I actually have a picture that I drew in kindergarten, and it said, "Who's your hero?" And it says, "My mom, because she lets me get dogs." And it's a picture of her holding a dog.
Oh my gosh, that's great. That's great. You were dog crazy from the very beginning.
From the beginning.
From the beginning. Okay, so we have some more time. So if any questions pop up, please type them there. But I'd like to continue the conversation here with something that, because you've been in the pet industry for a long time, well, I feel like I can say that now. I think, businesses come and go. And so I think if anybody who's been in the industry for 10 or more years has been in the industry a long time. And I want to know if there's anything in this industry that pisses you off.
Vegan dog food. Vegan dog food pisses me off. If your dog has a liver issue and actually has to be on a vegan dog food, then I understand. I will actually recommend that if your dog has that issue. But saying that all dogs should be on a vegan diet drives me crazy. They're carnivores. Stop it. Their teeth are meant to tear, not to grind plant matter.
Yeah, I think that's smart. Yeah, it doesn't happen often, but I know that consumers come in because they're vegetarians and they want to make their dog a vegetarian too. And so how do you handle that conversation when that customer comes in?
I say no. I say absolutely no. We did have one person, this was a good one. They actually came in and they were vegan and they wanted to adopt a dog and they wanted to feed it a vegan diet. And I said, "Let me find a dog that has a liver shunt and let's go from there. I will find a dog that has liver issues and we'll see if it's a match for you. And then you can feed it a vegan diet and it's a win-win for you and for the dog." So that's how I handle it with that. But when people come in, we just explain to them they are carnivores. We show them all of the proof that they're not meant to just eat vegetables. Can they just eat vegetables? Yes, they can. But is it the best diet for them? Absolutely not. It'd be like saying, with children, yes, they can survive on McDonald's, but is that the best for them? No. So why do that to them?
Yeah, I use that McDonald's example a lot when I try to convert people off the commercial foods to spending a little bit more money on their dog. It's kind of like, well, yeah, can we eat McDonald's? Like for us, we can eat McDonald's all the time if we want to, but our skin's going to break out. We're going to gain weight. We're not going to feel as energetic as we once were. Our hair won't be as shiny as it could be, versus when we eat healthy foods. So,
yeah. When we were at Super Zoo and Global, and when I saw the vegan dog food, I was like, "No, we're not even going to that booth. Just keep walking. It's going to get ugly if I go over there."
start egging it. We just should have brought our eggs.
Oh, my reps were trying. My reps were like, Nancy, let's go over there because they know I have a big mouth. And I'm like, no, we're not going. I'm not making a scene here.
they were egging you on. Okay. All right. And if there was anything that, you feel like you wish you knew in the beginning, is there anything that you wish you knew in the beginning that you would tell your younger self?
It is 24/7. You give up your life to run a small business. A lot of people think that we're rolling in money and, that my mom, if she's listening, she calls me 15 times a day sometimes. And I pick up after the fifth time, I'll say, Mommy, I can't talk right now. And hang up on. It's taken a few years, but she's now realizing that I actually am working during the day. I'm not avoiding her phone calls. If I'm with a customer, my phone doesn't come out. If I'm doing an order, that order is important. So it is literally 24/7.
Mm-hmm. One of your customers is actually watching right now. It's Sarah Hodgson.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah. She says that she can't thank you enough for all that you do. Well, and
Sarah's the best.
She included Chris in parentheses.
Yeah, Sarah actually, when we opened our second store, we actually did an Indiegogo. So we did like a calendar contest and things like that. Not so much to raise money for the store because it was good advertising to let people know what we were doing because we were doing an adoption shop. So my second store actually has 3 adoption booths in it. So when you come in on Mondays and Tuesdays, we have dogs up for adoption in the store every Monday and Tuesday.
Okay.
Sarah's dog was actually painted on one of those suites. So she actually sponsored one of the suites, and we have one of her dogs that passed away painted on there.
Oh, that's lovely. That's nice.
Wonderful.
Oh, that's wonderful. So actually, Frank has got a question about how you market your stores in order to attract new customers, but that's kind of an interesting thing you just mentioned there. So you have, you've got 3, you said stalls or rooms?
Yeah, they're nice size rooms. We have a mastiff size one that's probably about 8 feet by 5 feet. And then the other ones are about 5 feet by 5 feet, but it's 3 cubicles that have doors on them. So people come in all the time and say, do you sell puppies? And we say, no, absolutely not. But we have these dogs for adoption. And then on the wall behind it is dogs that have been in the shelter for a very long time or dogs that have been a rescue that haven't gotten adopted. We have their portraits up. And then when they finally do get adopted, then we actually give the customer the portrait.
Got it. And so do you have the same dogs come on that same week or every day it's rotating? I guess it depends probably on the,
Yeah, it's up to the shelter. We have 2 different shelters that we work with that bring dogs to us on the days that they're closed. So that way the dogs are still getting exposure when they're not open. It's whatever dog that they want to bring. And then we'll feature them on our Instagram and our Facebook page, just saying, hey, so-and-so is at the store today. Like there's this one, Olga, it's this pit bull that I'm in love with. She's a senior pit bull. She's so beautiful, but she's been at our store twice now this month. And, every time I see her, I'm like, let me put her up so somebody will adopt her so I don't.
Yeah. So that right there is even that guerrilla marketing from the book you were just mentioning. I mean, it's not a specific example, but you're doing something that gives back. It brings love into your store and it gives life there. When I feel like when there's no dogs in the store, people come in the store and they're like, well, where are dogs? They just want to come and play with dogs. And so you're providing some dogs they can play with, and it's creating a new customer for you, and it's giving you content to use on your social media. And that's really, really smart. What other types of marketing have you done for these new stores to attract new customers?
Honestly, everything has been through Facebook and social media. We actually spent a lot of money to have flyers done up and have them sent to the surrounding neighborhoods. And the company that we hired didn't send the flyers out. So we quickly the day before the grand opening, we realized they hadn't been sent out. So I had to quickly put together something. I think I paid like $200 to blast it. I do mainly everything is on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. And then I hit all of the local shelters, the rescue groups, anything dog related, and I'll go hand out goodie bags, treats. When we open a new store, we actually make up good sized bags, full bags of the cookies that we carry, along with samples of what we carry. And we'll actually go introduce ourselves to all the retail neighbors and just say, hey, this is where, we're coming in. Here's a bag of treats for you to bring home for your dog. And here's some samples to hand out to customers if you allow dogs in your store. And we do our research. And then restaurants too. If they have a patio where dogs can sit outside, we actually supply all the cookies to them for free. So we supply, probably 50 restaurants with dog cookies for free every month.
So are you putting them in individual packages, or are you giving them a bowl? Yeah, some of your marketing on it. That's smart.
Yeah. It actually has a picture of my logo with my bakery case with my dog on it.
Oh, great. Yeah. I mean, because, word of mouth marketing, that's actually another great book. If you guys want to read that, Word of Mouth Marketing. It's because that is truly really powerful. And so you've gone into your local community, that local word of mouth, right? And you're giving gifts. They've experienced your store. They've invited, they're meeting dog owners every day, all day long near your business, and they can recommend your business if they know, like, and trust you.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Let's see. Just looking through the chat thread. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I want to know, like, if you had a magic wand, if you had a magic wand and you could change anything about your business, what would it be?
Honestly, the name.
Really?
Yeah, I had it on my license plate. I opened so quickly that I just did it spur of the moment. I would have come up with something more. I mean, I am Dog Krazy, and there is a background to it as to why it's spelled crazy with a K. So it goes back to my high school days. But I think I would have come up with something just more catchy, just because people type in Dog Krazy and they do it with a C all the time. And when they tag me and stuff, they do it with a C. So I would have just done more planning into that. I think that's the only thing I would have done. Yeah,
that's what we have that in common too. When I did Dogaholics, I had, so back in 2006, when I thought of the name Dogaholics for my retail store, I didn't know, well, I had to buy the URL. I couldn't believe no one hadn't trademarked it, but I hadn't bought the URL. And so I went to go to get the URL, and it was already owned. No one was using it. So I put hyphens in my URL, which ended up going into the name. And every time anyone would call, or want your email address, it would be dog-a-holics. It was annoying. So, yeah. But anyway, eventually we bought the URL, dogaholics.com. It took 10 years, but we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you feel like, too, like, is there anything else about the name? Like, it does say dog, but I'm assuming you help cats too.
Yeah, we do. We didn't start it right away. We didn't do a lot of cat stuff right away. But when my cat actually became diabetic is when I really got into cat food too. I wanted to get him off insulin, and I did. It took about 2 weeks for me to get him off insulin completely. By switching him over to a raw diet and using goat's milk instead. I almost lost him because his blood sugars went back to normal so quickly. He actually got so low from being on the insulin and this change in diet. But after that, I started stocking everything that I was using on him, and now we're known for cats too. So in our fourth store, it actually says "and cats too," but at the other stores, we haven't incorporated that into the name yet. It's not on the front. Let me say, when you walk in, you see a cat section and a dog section, but on the front of the store, the Richmond store is the only one. My fourth is the only one that has "and cats too."
Mm-hmm. And since you're very, obviously you're a lot of your experience with the health experiences you've had and the interests from your own pets and the situations that they're going through. What types, and because you have so many stores now and you love to buy, what types of trends are you seeing? I know you've been to a lot of shows lately. What trends are you seeing in the pet space for products or situations that you think would be really interesting?
Well, CBD is the new thing. I mean, you see CBD everywhere now. I was actually using it before it was even on the market. We have a local store in town that sells all natural supplies, and she was actually getting me CBD oil for my dog with cancer. And it worked wonders. And then when my bulldog got her heart tumor, we were using it on her, but it was, she gave me like a little quantity of it, and it was just a drop. And then soon after that is when I got my first CBD product that I was able to purchase on my own. And now I have a line that I really love that we carry at the store, and we sell a ton of it.
That is really interesting. That's something that, in my own experience, that wasn't available for me with my store. And it is a trend. I hear a lot of retailers talk about it now, and they're selling lots of it. So check that out. And I guess on that note, to end, I really want to know, like, what's the one word that comes to mind when you think about the future of the pet industry?
Oh gosh, I don't know. That's a hard one. I'd have to say knowledge, because I think people really are researching pet food now. You know, with Pet Fold coming out, we have people coming in every day that have seen that. So I'm hoping more stores catch on to that and start getting rid of those products that you really shouldn't be giving dogs, and start bringing in more of the products that they're unsure of, will it really sell because of price point, or they're not knowledgeable on it. Start learning about that stuff. This is stuff that's going to carry us into the future. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Focus on your store. And that's what's going to get you where you need to be.
That's absolutely right. That's great advice, Nancy. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and for contributing to Pets Plus Magazine. For everyone watching, if you want to join the Pet Boss Nation Facebook group, please do so. Christina can share the link for that in the chat thread, but basically look for Pet Boss Nation on Facebook. And we've got a huge community of retailers and manufacturers and Pets Plus people there to chat. And if you want to see future webinars where we take people like Nancy and other contributors and experts and go beyond the pages, check back on Wednesday nights, or you can check out Pets Plus Magazine's website. Our next one is going to be with the owners of DOG out in, I think they're in Montana. So look forward to that. It's going to be next Wednesday on November 15th. So thank you so much. And people are saying congratulations to your success. You've got employees on here. Looks like Jamie's on here. Thanks for being a wonderful guest. I mean,
she's one of my favorites. I love her.
You know, Nancy, I got to tell you, I love your passion. I love your energy. And, you know, to have so many of your supporters jumping on tonight and watching, that says a lot about you too. So I know we all wish you just so much success, and we will talk to you soon. All right, everybody.
I'll call you soon about inventory.
Okay, yeah, let's talk.
Okay.
All right, bye, everybody.
Thank you.